meeting is now called to order. Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Kramer? Mrs. Lane?
Here.
Mrs. Rich? Mrs. Gallagher?
Here.
Mr. Kraftcheck? Here. Mr. Parzak?
Here.
The meeting is now open. Adequate notice of the meeting was provided by posting a copy of the time and place on the municipal clerk's bulletin board and mailing a copy of same to the press and the Cape May County Herald on January 6, 2018. Will everyone please rise to salute the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First thing we have on the agenda is dock hearings.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Would you raise your right hand, sir? State your name.
Frank Bowen.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, Mr. Bowen is with Channel Marine, and the first dock hearing is 9315 Sunset Drive.
Okay. This gentleman is getting a new bulkhead, building a new home. We're here today for the dock, the ramp, and the float. He's got a permit from the DEP and the Army Corps to install these items. And I think you guys have all the paperwork for that.
Yes, we do have the permit. We have the plans. Anybody have any questions of Mr. Bowen?
I'm good.
Is it right?
Does this
Well,
include the bulkhead, or just the ramp and float?
he's doing all
Do-
of it.
I-
Bulkhead, ramp, bulkhead, pier, ramp, and float.
I was just curious what the bulkhead will go in at, given that
The
we're,
new elevation?
yeah,
That's the million-dollar question.
but he has approval to do it at whatever.
Right now,
elevation
whatever
you
the town ordinance is what he's approved at, and I know you guys are working on that. And I know we talked about
Yeah.
probably elevation 8.
Yeah, I spoke to Lauren from your office today. The approved plans have it at 7. So I made a suggestion if council would want to have them build it at 8.
I mean, that,
I'm kind of holding up until we figure it out.
I mean, Ray and I had this discussion before. I mean, obviously, we're kind of in the middle here, but if that's where we're going, I'd sure hate to see somebody
What's your,
miss out and then be subject to bringing it up in so many years or whatever the
right, what makes sense.
criteria is to come in compliance, so.
What's your proposed dates, like construction dates?
You know, I would really like to get started on it sooner than later, because it's part of our schedule, and he's anxious to get going. I'm just looking here real quick, just give me 1 second. I don't have a copy of the bulkhead proposal, but I think that, did you see the plans
I did. From what I saw.
that we turned in for a permit?
Yeah, they were designed by Shaw.
No, that was a survey. I'm doing the bulkhead design, because
Yeah, I saw 7.
I thought it was 8. I'm not sure.
No, plans say 7, Frank.
Okay. You-
Yeah, Andrew Shaw, I think, did the design, right?
So, you know, we're just kind of waiting for you guys to let us know where it's going to be.
Well, are we still planning to introduce
Yes.
bulkhead height next meeting, correct? First reading,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
because that's
I
all,
was
we're
trying
not,
to think it was, yes,
It's the first reading
we're
would be
just getting the
July
height
3rd.
out there
Yes.
to move forward, and
Yes.
then we're going to figure the other stuff out.
correct,
Okay,
So July 3rd, we'll be introducing the 8 feet.
right.
That's in 2 weeks.
We're
Is
good.
council, this would be for a question, I guess, for Mark, is council able to
Approve it at 8.
approve it at 8 now? That would be my recommendation to you guys.
approve this application.
Individually.
Mhm.
No, I think that's.
Yeah,
the smart
I would
thing to
agree with
do.
that.
And
So
what-
on July 3rd, we'll have a number, pretty much.
No, but I think.
No, I think.
Well,
give
that'll be the,
permission right now.
Oh, at
What they're saying is
elevation
they're
8?
gonna approve this now at the 8,
Okay,
okay?
sounds good to me.
See, aren't you glad you came tonight? See?
Sure. I love coming here.
The only, question that I had on this, and I talked to Frank during the break, was I'm surprised that the plan as it's drawn is removing a float and a ramp and allowing a fixed dock to go in 7 feet by 32 feet. And that kind of caught me by surprise because I didn't think the state really allowed fixed docks to go in where there was no evidence of a fixed dock. You know, they normally, I think, restrict you to replace in kind what you're taking out, and you can put back what was there. But, you know, Mr. Bowen, Mike Lucy, if he researched this, and at one point there was a fixed dock at that address, that kind of answers that question. But although you're saying that it's not uncommon,
No.
fixed docks on the channel.
Especially back in the day, everybody had a fixed dock because nobody had a floater, you know, and you still see remnants of that today. We're still taking out old fixed docks. People are climbing down ladders to get on the boats. It's
Yeah.
rare, but back in the day, everybody had a fixed pier, fixed dock, call it what you want. And I think that what happened was somebody probably took that out, or a storm took it out, and then they wind up putting a ramp and float in without a permit, and now they're going back and they got it legalized, what was there probably at one time. Because the state just does not say, yeah, go ahead and do it. It's always a battle and a procedure to get the pier legalized to
Right.
have. So they're not giving that to them lightly, you know, it's,
Well, and as you said, that there's a lot of fixed docks in that stretch of
yeah,
waterfront there.
there are.
So,
Plus, they got a pound of flesh out of them too, because I think there was a shellfish mitigation habitat
Right, that's intercoastal
fine, or
shellfish.
whatever you want to call it, yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't
They
come
got
easy to get that fixed pier.
Okay, is there anyone here to speak for or against this application? Seeing no one, we'll close public comment. I need a motion to approve the dock permit for 9315 Sunset Drive
With the 8-foot provision.
with the 8-foot provision.
So moved.
second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Lane?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Kraftcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Parzak?
yes.
And we'll move on to the second presentation by Mr. Bowen for another dock permit for 11 Berkeley.
Yes. So with this one, we have an aerial photo. The pier's there now. It's very old, very old. There's a survey of it. There is the pier there now, and we also have an aerial photo of it from 1971. And we're just asking to rebuild it exactly the same way that it is now. Nothing enlarged, just the way it is. And that's why we're here for this one.
And we have the DEP permit.
We do not have a DEP permit.
This falls on under a Zane exemption?
It would be a Zane, yeah, because it's going right back the same way that it was.
Essentially, you are able to, replace in kind anything that exists, and you have evidence of that
As long as you can prove exactly what exists at one time, and the aerial photos prove
without
that.
going through the DEP process that you would otherwise have to do.
Anybody have any questions?
Well, most of it,
Bulkhead gonna be at 8 as well?
There's no bulkhead on this one.
No bulkhead?
It's just a pier.
Okay.
Yeah, they're gonna do the bulkhead down the road.
and the pier's still there now, Frank, right?
Yeah.
Most of it's there, so you're just.
It's all there. I mean,
Yeah.
it's in really bad shape. It's 50 years old, you know. You can tell because it's old Creo, that the Creo wore off of it. It's so old, so.
Okay, is there anybody here to speak for or against this application? Seeing no one, we'll close public comment. So I need a motion to approve the dock permit for 411 Berkeley.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Lane?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Kraftcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Parzak?
Yes,
Okay,
Thank you.
you're good.
All righty.
Thank you. Okay. Miranda, you're up.
Thank Thank you, Mayor and Council, for recognizing the efforts of these four exceptional women to my right. So in orange, we have Nancy Kennard. Wave, Nance. Navy, we have Kim Jackson. In blue, Phyllis Kilgore. And in red, Michelle Storb. So these are our pickleball ambassadors for the program at Stone Harbor Recreation. So if you would bear with me, I can't say enough about these women, so I'm trying to modify this to 2 pages. So Stone Harbor's passion for pickleball ignited in the spring of 2014 and shows no signs of fading into the sunset. Pickleball is a paddle sport created for all ages and skill levels that is growing in leaps and bounds. Pickleball combines many elements of tennis, badminton, and ping pong. The rules are simple and the game is easy for beginners to learn, but can develop into a quick, fast-paced, competitive game for experienced players. Stone Harbor Recreation and these 4 women embraced over 3,000 players to their courts with open arms in a 12-week span in 2017. 1,250 of them were introduced to the sport through the Stone Harbor program alone. 51 beginners was the record high in just 1 beginner session last year. So these numbers are pretty staggering, and I have no doubt that we're going to beat them this year. So Nancy, Kim, Phyllis, and Michelle have created an inspiring culture on our courts unlike anything I've ever seen. They're a triple threat on the court. Their personalities, patience, and passion for the sport encourage players not only to learn the game properly, but have a blast while doing so. I'm incredibly grateful to them for donating more than 240 hours of their time, individually, separately, and energy on the court each summer, developing such an inclusive and wholesome benefit to our community. All 4 women are Stone Harbor property owners and have deep connections with Stone Harbor. Kim summered in Stone Harbor since 1985 and ultimately bought her home in 1995, where she still resides. Kim is a teacher and taught pickleball for 25 years in physical education classes in Westchester, PA. Phyllis came to Stone Harbor over 60 years ago with her family and eventually bought her home in 1976 that she owns still today. Phyllis, also a teacher, taught pickleball for 30 years in physical education classes at Radnor High School in Pennsylvania. Michelle grew up summering in Stone Harbor since she was a child and has owned a home in Stone Harbor for the past 15 years. The healthy competition pickleball inspired between her Storb family, Michelle, Lewis, her husband, and her sons Mark, 22, Mitchell's 21, and Michael, 17, epitomize the old saying, a family that plays together stays together. And don't let Nancy's modest persona fool you on court. She's a tenacious pickleball player who has been playing actively for 8 years. She is the first to greet you with a warm smile and the driving force behind the camaraderie created on court. Nancy spent her summers in Stone Harbor with her family since 1943 and has lived in Stone Harbor full-time for 40 years. She created, owned, and operated the adored Bread and Cheese Cupboard for 34 years on 96th Street, right here in Stone Harbor. Phyllis, Michelle, and Kim played in the U.S. Open Pickleball Championships annually. Phyllis and Kim both medaled in the prestigious pickleball tournament named the Huntsman's Games, hosted in St. George, Utah. Needless to say, there's no shortage of talent instructing the Stone Harbor Pickleball program. In 2017, Stone Harbor Recreation hosted 2 tournaments, greeting 180 players to our first-rate facilities on 82nd Street. And backed by popular demand, we do it all over again this weekend. So we have our first tournament of the season, and it's for ages 19 and up. Phyllis, in blue, is also an official USA Pickleball Association ambassador, and she said it best when she said, quote, younger people are getting involved with the sport. It helps the growth of the sport. It's wonderful to offer a tournament to local and regional players to not only expose our top-notch facility, but offer an opportunity for younger players to get tournament experiences, since the age groups range from 19 to 70 plus years. I have witnessed the talent progress in just a few short years, and the level of competition has certainly risen. My advice to future generations would be, if you aren't immediately successful, stick with it and growth will happen. The resonating message from our volunteer coordinators: pickleball keeps you active on the court, develops lasting friendships off the court, and be prepared to get addicted. The inviting atmosphere these individuals have created is astounding and certainly not gone unnoticed. Stone Harbor Pickleball has been featured in local publications such as 7 Mile Times, The Herald, the Press of Atlantic City, New Jersey Monthly, and has even stretched as far as Quebec, Canada. Thanks to our friends at Cape May County Tourism Department, the French-Canadian Travel Show visited here last August to take in the sights and get footage of everything from beach to bay, and pickleball absolutely made the cut. So the Stone Harbor / Avalon episode just aired in Canada and other French-speaking countries and will continue for another 5 years. So for 5 years, they're gonna run that 44-minute episode. And there's nothing like immediate gratification. Not 1 week after airing, Kim was already contacted from a resident they come from Quebec. It was a French-speaking country that saw this specific ad and said they booked their Stone Harbor and vacation just because of Stone Harbor Pickleball.
Very nice.
So, for our eyes only, we are allowed to show you the pickleball segment of that 44-minute video of Stone Harbor and Avalon. But before we do that, I would love to have mayor and council and these 4 wonderful women in a photo op with your certificates, if you'd be so kind. So I'll call you up one by one and I'll get my camera. And then we can watch the 5-minute video.
Are we going down?
I'll get. Yeah, come on down.
Guys.
Everybody.
We'll do a group shot with everyone. So that's,
Yeah, we're doing a group shot next. We're gonna do it this morning.
yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. To get the 4 of you guys kind of lined up together.
You're taller than I am, we're good.
And you can go in front of that, yeah. Go in front of that.
We'll cover that up.
No, because she's gonna do no, she did the movie.
Yes, I can.
I'll get one of them. All right, we'll get one. All right, and then Kathy, you text me.
Yeah.
Or can you take it with this one?
Yep.
Okay.
Put it right there.
Okay. Smile. Wait, one more, and then I'll be done.
I will just shake you.
Our debut?
Yeah. This is the debut. Yeah, make sure you all can see. I'm freezing. Oh, we're gonna watch a video. Be good if the power was on. So they will not release the episodes for us to advertise in any way, shape, or form